Welcome to another episode of the Shiv Nadar School podcast. I am Navya Sundararajan and I am a grade 11 student here at the Noida Campus. Today I am joined by two extremely special guests, Colonel Gopal Karunakaran, who is the CEO of the Shiv Nadar School, and Ms. Raspreet Sidhu, the head of sports. I'm so glad to have the both of you here with me today. Today, we are going to be delving into the world of sports and the invaluable skills sports offer to students. I'd like to start off with a question to you, sir. I know that you're an avid sports fanatic and you absolutely love playing and watching sports like football, basketball. I would like to know, what skills do you think sports impart to students?
Firstly, it's an absolute pleasure and joy to be here. I may add, with two exceptional sports people. One, Navya, you yourself, you're India number 2 squash. We are so proud of you for what you've achieved in sport. And the other person is the basketball legend of India, who's played for India for 20 years, for Raspreet. So it's been a terrific journey of seeing young people excel and also have somebody like Raspreet as someone who heads sport. Coming to the question of what sort of skills students get from sport. Sport sort of encapsulates everything that you want in people. And I can go on and on about this, but currently I play badminton from basketball before, and football and squash. I played a fair bit of squash. Navya, we played a little bit. But I think what happens, for example, in badminton is that you are taking so many quick decisions in the course of what you're doing. So you have 3 options and you're choosing one, right? So one is the sheer brain's capacity to take decisions, right? And also take decisions when it's ambiguous. So you're not sure and you're taking that decision. Your ability to take decisions when it's risky. As you know, in squash, you are going to play a shot which you expect is to be a kill, but if it is not and it comes back, then you are out of position. So it same happens in badminton, same will happen in basketball. So you take a 3-pointer, it's a risky shot, you get 3 points, but if you don't, you're losing the ball. So I think that's the nature of the many things sports does for you. But obviously, people often talk about learning to collaborate, learning to work with teams. But some of the biggest lessons are learning to lose, because such is life that you never win all the time. But if you can learn that at 5 and 7 and 8 and 10, before you're even a teenager, that yes, sometimes you lose, it's sorrowful, it's hurtful, but move on and you get on with life. And that lesson, I think, to young children cannot come from anything but sport. That ability to learn to lose, the ability to get up and get on, and that hard work matters. So these are some of the many things I think comes through a strong sports program. And the more children engage in sport, the more these sort of things become part of your DNA and part of your character. I just conclude this part by saying that maybe the next wonderful thing about sport is that with effort and a little bit of intelligence and a little bit of coaching and guidance, you're going to get better. And then another 3 months you say, I got better than 3 months ago. Another 3 months you can say, I got better. So the yearning for getting better, which is what we should do in our life all the time, is one of the things which is sort of built into sport.
Definitely, sir. In fact, my coach was just telling me yesterday that it is a very continuous process. So you lose a tournament today, there is a tournament in a week. There is nothing to be, you can be demotivated for a day. You can be sad for a day. There's always, a new beginning that you can get to. And I feel that is something which only sports can make you understand, that, the futility of loss and of win.
Yeah.
It's so, I really love it. It's so
Yeah, absolutely. So the fact that no loss is permanent
exactly.
is a great lesson, right? And in life, you will lose here and there. It could be money, it could be relationships, it could be health, but you're going to have your ups and downs. It will be career, and that's how it is. But if you learn all those lessons at this young age, like what your coach told you, that there is always the next tournament, right? There's always the next World Cup. There's always the next Asian Games. So there's always the next tournament to play, right?
Definitely. So I've noticed that people who excel, in sports, they've managed to bring that excellence to their academics as well. I've seen it firsthand, as an athlete myself, and I've seen it in a lot of students at the school as well. Could you elaborate a little bit on how this mentality is inculcated in students and how they're able to excel in so many different spheres that they, work on?
Yeah. So I think there was always a mindset in India that if you study, you will excel. And if you play too much, and there's a Hindi saying that if you play too much, tum kharab ho jaoge. But on the other side, there is always a view that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So I think it doesn't seem obvious, but in our educational experience, we know that children who play and excel also take that back into the academic field, and they also have a system of knowing how to study well and how to do well academically. I think because sport teaches you at a young age so many life skills which other children learn later. One of it is how to cope with an examination, how to plan studies and to break it up.
Time management.
Yeah, time management. So I think you learn all these skills, and therefore I think pretty much students who do regular sport, regular exercise, competitive sport also excel academically.
Up until now, we've talked a lot about the skills and the values that sports give to students. But, the viewers and I myself would like to know a little more about your personal experiences with sports and how they've impacted you.
Yeah, I think I had two unique privileges in my early life with sport. One is I was born with a built-in competitor. I was born a twin, so a boy, so two boys. And from any memory that I have, my brother and I, we always competed in sport. So starting with probably table tennis with inverted textbooks on the floor with one ball, and intensely competitive table tennis as like 5-year-olds, to playing later at the team. Like he got into the class team in basketball when we were in Singapore as middle school children, which I couldn't get into the team, but he got in to the team. Later on, I became sports captain of my school in Army Public School. But not that he was far behind. He was head boy. But we would always count that I was better than him at cricket. Football, we were equal. Basketball, he was better. Badminton, were intensely competitive. But I think what also happened to me and my twin brother is that my father was a professor. We lived on university campuses. We always got to play with the bigger boys. So obviously we learned faster because we had to survive. And we had lots of facilities, whether it's Singapore, Delhi universities, Shimla. So I think that's how the initial thrust of excellence happen. One is to compete with someone who happened to be your twin brother, and then the huge amount of opportunities to play. And then I had a whole life in the army for 30 years where sport is huge, which is every single day, and it's intensely competitive. And you could be an officer, but if you're not good enough, you're not going to get into the team. So you're playing with soldiers who are fitter, they have more time, they spend 3-4 hours a day only doing sport. But I think my whole life, fortunately for me, has revolved around every single day of sport. In the last 5 days, I played 3 days of badminton in the morning for 1.5 hours. So I'm 64. So sport doesn't stop. I keep wondering, when is it going to stop? But I think it also just keeps you going. It keeps you energetic. It keeps you in better moods. It keeps you healthier. So what more can you get from sport, right? Okay, so I'll switch this from the 64-year-old Gopal to the 16-year-old Navya, 60-year-old Navya. And maybe you could tell us about your entire incredible squash journey of getting to be number 2 India, for which we are so proud of in Shiv Nadar School. But tell us how it's been, how many hours of work, how do you manage your studies and your demands from your parents and your teachers, as well as traveling all over. So tell us a little bit about all the travel, all the competition, how you felt winning and losing and playing for India.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have 4 hours of training every single day with 1 rest day a week. And the thing with pursuing a sport professionally or having those sort of ambitions is that you might be putting 4 hours, a day on court, but you're going to be thinking about it for the rest of the day. It's a very active sort of process, and I'm sure ma'am would agree, being so experienced. But it is a very active sort of process, and you're constantly thinking about it. Your life revolves around your sport. For me, my family, I am at a loss for words when it comes to them, because they've managed to hold me up so incredibly. My parents are...
You have a squash playing and a squash obsessed father, and you've got a squash obsessed mother also.
A momager, I like to call.
Yeah.
And my brother, he also used to play, and it was because of him that I got into the sport, right? Yeah. So my parents, they've always supported me. And they've never had notions that, I had to be better at academics. They felt that if I enjoyed they've always felt like if I've enjoyed something, I should be given the chance to pursue it. That's what they've done. When it comes to my journey with tournaments and with just that aspect of things, with the being India number 2, aspect, it is taxing. It is emotionally very draining at times, because at the end of the day, no one goes to a tournament to lose. Everyone has this mindset that they want to win, and everyone has worked hours and hours, and there is not one day which goes wasted. Every single day that you go to the court, there is that 1% you have to improve, and I live by that. You cannot slack off. You have to work hard. And I feel like I've only gotten where I've gotten because I've worked hard. Nothing has come easy to me. Whether it is academics, whether it is squash, I have given it the time, and I'm extremely privileged because I have gotten that support from my parents, and especially from this school, with the infrastructure, with the coaches, with Raspreet ma'am, and so with you as well. The support I've gotten, it's meant a lot to me, and it's helped me study. So all these things together, they have, accumulated in a very nice way. And I get to say that I'm India number 2. But there's so much contribution which has gone behind that. Last year, I got to represent India at the Asian Junior Individual Squash Championship. And I'm preparing for the trials again for the Asian Juniors, but also for the World Juniors, the under-19 category. So I'm really hoping that I get to wear that India jersey again this year, and get to make my school, my parents, my friends, and all of you proud.
Yeah, wow. So proud of the story, and also the sort of lessons that squash has taught.
Definitely. So, ma'am, um, directing the conversation to you, you are one of my, greatest role models. You have been representing India at the biggest stages now in basketball for the past 20 years. And you have, represented India at the Asian Games, at the Commonwealth Games. There is so much to your journey and to your process that I want to know about, that so many people want to know about. So I'd just like to ask you, when it comes to basketball, what are some personal lessons that you've taken from the sport which have helped you come as far as you?
I think first of all, like Gopal sir said, it's a privilege to be here. Now, when I was listening to the conversation you were having with sir, I could, see a mini version of me sitting there just talking about the love of the sport and how much it takes and hard work. But congratulations, all of us at Shiv Nadar School, we are so immensely proud of you and of your achievements. And we also take great pride in supporting you in whatever way we can, and we'll continue to do that. Now, coming to your question, and when you were talking about that Indian jersey, I had goosebumps. So it never gets old, because I remember at a very early stage in my life, I had set eyes on that blue jersey. And it's only because my dad had taken me for an Asian championship, which was happening at Talkatara Stadium in Delhi. Indian women team was playing Japan. A 13-year-old Raspreet Sidhu at that time knew, this is what I want to be. This is the jersey I want, and my country is what I want to represent. So I think I was fortunate enough to be, it's only because of my parents, like you rightly said, and my coach and my school, because it's sort of a triangle. It's not just one person or one athlete alone. It takes so many people from behind the scenes, and that's why we can showcase our talent what we can. And the feeling, which I think it's inexpressible in mere words, what you feel when you wear that jersey, right? And you can agree with me. And I'm so proud of the fact that we've had these stories, not just you, but so many others from the school, which in the sports we've directly supported, indirectly supported, and now they're playing for the nation. Then in their number one, number twos, and amazing. I mean, it's a surreal experience, and I'm mixing the two things. Why? Because I get to sit in front of you. I get to sit in front of an avid sports person. Like, you name a sport, Colin Gopal knows how to play it and how to beat you in it. Somewhere he'll find this competitive energy there.
My greatest joy is to beat Raspreet at badminton. So I beat an India player. I don't tell them the sport.
So, yes, so coming back to, I think every time, and that's something which you are doing already, because we've had these conversations, a goal setting for an athlete and for a student becomes so important. And that's something which you take in life, right? We keep setting the goals, and once we achieve it, we don't sit down. We want to set another set of goals, because that's what we endeavor to do, to become better, like Sir said, to become better at life. And I think that's the biggest lesson sports has taught me. So once it was the Indian blue jersey and I started playing in the 10th grade, we were playing tournaments after tournaments. My school principal, by the way, was really worried, because it was both in the board years, 10th and 12th, because I was a CBSE background school, that they were extremely worried. Oh my God, she's never in school. But my coach assured the principal, she'll do much better than the rest, at least than the average student in the school. And that gladly happened. So that's also the responsibility you carry on your shoulders when you know there's so many people who are rooting for you, not just your parents, but your coach, your teachers. That sort of responsibility, and to feel responsible at such an early age is also something which sports teaches you for life. So another goal setting after representing country for numerous times was, okay, I think now we want to win medals for the nation. Any athlete who picks up the sport at any level, like I said, goal setting is one, but then you always aim at the medal, at a podium finish, and you want billions of people who are rooting for you, who you're representing, to feel proud of the fact that you're representing them. In 2011 is when I was fortunate enough to be the captain of the 3x3 Indian team, which won its first medal in the history of Indian basketball, both men and women. Navya, just to be at that podium, receiving the gold medal, everyone, risen up, national anthem playing, your national flag rising up. I still, it's like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
So that is something which we live for, which we live by, because that's the passion, that's the number of hours you've put in. And this I'm saying for a lot of athletes who play for the country, but it's a surreal experience. And I think just teaches you so much, also to stay grounded, also to be humble.
Yeah. I am at a loss for words. Just hearing you describe that feeling of just hearing the national anthem as you're on the podium, wearing the jersey. I can only hope to feel that one day, feel like that one day.
Absolutely, and you will. And we are pretty, and so, yeah, we're rooting for you now. All of us here at our school are rooting for you.
There is one more thing that I got from this conversation. So there is resilience, there is staying the course. And there's so many factors which you have to keep in mind as you're doing the work. But, when you're on that stage, when you are representing India at that global level, and you have 1 billion people just waiting here, looking up to you, how do you cope with, the pressure?
Like I mentioned, to deal with the pressure came in very early for me. I remember when I had to go for the first Indian camp, Navya, my father, slid in the maths and the science book. I was in grade 8. And he said, so there's a condition. I'm extremely proud of you that you're getting a chance to represent the nation, but that will not come at the cost of the studies. So he said, you better be studying once in 2 days, if not more, because it was a long camp. We used to have 4 months camp and, So I think that was something which was inbuilt with me. Why? Because my coach, he himself was a chemistry honor, Rajasthan University gold medalist, played for the country himself, Mr. V.P. Nirla. He still coaches Montfort School, and he is my idol and a living legend. So, I was, like you were saying, I'm fortunate enough to be brought up by people and not just by my parents who have done all this, what I'm trying to tell you that we strive for, right? So they were living examples in front of me, and I knew I just have to model it. So it's not something which is impossible. It is very much possible if you, again, stay the course, stay motivated, So that's where the timetabling and priorities came in.
So, Raspreet ma'am, you're the head of sports of Shiv Nadar School, and you also coach a lot of basketball players, and in general, you mentor a lot of students who are student athletes. So, how has that process been like for you?
I think I'll be very honest in my answer, Navya. I would like to steer the conversation back to Shiv Nadar School and how Shiv Nadar School happened to me. That was all thanks to Colonel Gopal. It is actually a joke around in our team back there that Sir has hired me and got me in, and I was one of his risks. So saying that because I was 25 years old and he was hiring me for a position to head the sports of a 40-member sport team across the NCR schools, right? So it was definitely...
But maybe she's not telling you, but I hired her actually at a chart shop.
Yes.
What?
I perfectly did that, but now that's her is gone.
Brahmaputra Market, I bumped into her. She and my daughter played basketball together at Stephens, and I've known her from much before. And I said, what are you doing in Delhi University? Raspreet, come and join Shiv Nadar School. So I hired.
Yes.
Offered at the chart shop in...
I had no idea. Wow.
Oh, yes. So that's one kind of story now everyone knows. But I'm so proud of the... And I think that moment there, it's a life-changing moment you have, right? It happened when I played for the country. I wore that jersey. But if I have to just count the life-changing moments I had in my career, the chart shop at BP would count as one of them. So the conversation with Gopal would count as one of them. I always thought And I knew from little bit of my experience that grassroots is where the work needs to happen in our country.
Sure.
And now we see the government, Khelo India, and all these initiatives have been taken. It's all at the grassroots. So that is where we thought the foundation is built. And for me, to coming to schools was definitely an experiment, more than me, for my dad, because coming from a government job in Delhi University as an assistant professor to coming as a head of sport in the chain of schools was a big change for him. And I think that was one of the best decisions I took. And whenever I count my blessings, definitely Shiv Nadar School, I count twice. And there's a reason for that. When you mentioned that, how were you able to maintain your peak for such a long time? It's like for 20 years. And this is going to be the 10th year of me being as a part of Shiv Nadar School family. And literally half of my playing career, I've lived through from Shiv Nadar School. And I've just realized this through our conversation. 50% of my playing career for the country has happened through Shiv Nadar School. And that is when I say that when I count Shiv Nadar School, that was one of the best decisions I took. So I always say that I've been the fortunate one who was getting to live her passion, her dream, and continue it till that long a career is all thanks to the school. And that's where we've embedded a lot of programs at the grassroots level here at school, because like I said, that is where the need of the hour is. And not just so we cannot stick to as a school education in a traditional physical education classes. We have to think out of the box. And that's what all of us, with everyone's support, we did here very early. And that's why we see the programs where we've got under 8 teams now, under 10 teams. And I'm sure you've met a lot of them. When I coach them, I come back to Gopal and I joke with him, sir, I'm not even sure what Raspreet Sidhu was doing when she was 8 years old. Probably I would have been sitting in a corner of a class or doing, hiding myself. Because what sports can give you is not just identity, but that confidence.
Yeah.
So when we see that happening from school, and it's not the endeavor that all of them should go and represent India. That's like the byproduct of the system, of the processes we've got in the beginning. Vision is to have a great sports culture. Vision is to provide platform in not just one, but varied sports so that a student athlete can choose for himself or herself where the interest lies.
Yeah.
And that comes with a little bit of talent identification from my coaching team. It goes hand in hand, and that's where we nurture the talent. So not just within the school, we provide opportunities even after school and post-school hours, because like you said, Navya, it takes at least 6 hours to 8 hours minimum in a day to reach at a particular level. And that's my consistent message to all the parents as well, that I know they've been playing for a particular time, but till the time we do not put so many number of hours, we're not taking the next level. So our endeavor here in sports is always been that we try to expose them to multiple programs where they can nurture, where we can nurture their talent, they can hone their skills and take that particular sport to the next level.
Yeah.
But culture is big for us. That is something which we strive to achieve. But yes, so that's a little bit of my story and what we try and do here in sports at the school.
So my last question for the day is, so we have, talked about sports at Shiv Nadar School, and we've talked about the different aspects of sports, ma'am. We've talked about your journey as a professional athlete, as the head of sports. I would just like to ask you, so how much pride does it fill you with to say that, the head of sports at our school represents India at the global stages, in women's basketball?
Yeah, she's one of these very shy Indian sports people who doesn't like to wear an India jersey. So I keep telling her, how are you not wearing the India jersey? Wear it for us, right? So I think that's obviously immense pride. And anyone who's had a career of 20 years and at the highest level, it's you can only admire somebody like that. But it's incredible what Raspreet has done. I think that's part of that commitment that happens when she's here. But I think we're also very proud of people like you, Shafali, who again hardly came to school, but graduated from here and did her 12th. And Tavish, who's an Asia ranked number 2 in tennis in Faridabad. He's Asia number 2 in tennis at under 17 now. So we've had this couple of students in Ghaziabad who in cricket are going to absolutely excel. One of those boys, Gurtej, has got 50 hundreds on Crick Heroes, I think. So 50 hundreds at that age, I remember my highest score ever was 74, but 50 hundreds. So I think we are very proud of what you all have done at school, and through that process, which you said, we are results, and results are people like you.
So I think that brings us to the end of this episode of the podcast. It was actually truly wonderful to see your perspectives and to see your journeys come alive. And it's given me like a new sort of reverence for our school and what the sports, team does for us. So with that, we're going to be concluding this episode of the Shiv Nadar School podcast. Remember that sports aren't just about playing that one match or doing that one day of training. They're about the journey that precedes all of it and the ambitions you have for the future to do better with the people who are backing you, for your coaches, for your parents, for your teachers, and for your entire support system and, for your country. So, we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.